What's up, everybody? Welcome to Snack Size DFS. I'm Dan Baspers, just here to introduce the program and, of course, remind you of our incredible partners at Bet Online. They're so much fun. I love those guys. They're the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for betting on March Madness. Even if your bracket went bust, BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with a free Sweet 16 bracket challenge. Yes, there are prizes and live betting on every remaining tournament game. They've got the largest selection of odds on everything from college basketball to MLB, NBA, NHL, MMA. BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. So, got a Cinderella story on the back of your brain just simmering that you think is going to make it the big, deep run? I guess it's not bad already. They're doing pretty well. We're not that far along. We got a little bit left. BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more on every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. Brenton Eckersley, the host of Snack Size DFS, is going to take you through the Saturday card and get you primed to win some money. That's what we do here at Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball. I personally try to help you win it over a 6-month period. That's actually easier. I'll be honest with you guys, because you can have a bunch of mistakes and you can still be all right. These day-to-day ones, man, my heart starts pounding. All right, shut up, Dan. Brenton, it's on you.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to your Snack Size DFS for Saturday, March the 29th. Thank you, Dan, as always, for the beautiful introduction. Appreciate you always giving me the intro, outro, mate, making sure that all of those messages are read. 7 games on Saturday, March the 29th, guys. Welcome in. There are 6 games on the main card, so we lose the Sacramento-Orlando game out of this video. To keep things brief for you, that's the idea here with Snack Size DFS, right? We're just here to get you primed and pumped for the coming days, DraftKings Day. We do record early here at Snack Size DFS, but I'm a little bit later today. So many of the games have started. I've just watched the Pelicans lose predictably to the Warriors. And yeah, there are many, many games on. So I'm a few hours later, and that means basically all the news that we're going to get on this day has already occurred. So without further ado, let's jump in, shall we? As I said, there are 6 games on the main card for DraftKings today. Let's look at some game notes. Saturday, March 29th, game pace notes for the day. The fast ones are going to be Dallas taking on Chicago, Chicago pushing that pace. Indiana and OKC, they're kind of middle to top of the table, both of these teams, so that one could be up around that 232 mark. And the slower games for the day, Sacramento-Orlando was removed from the main card, so ignore that one. The Miami-Philly game will be the slow one of the day. Attack and stack, a number of teams to look at here, taking on teams where fantasy points are plentiful. Brooklyn taking on Washington, Dallas taking on Chicago, back the other way. Chicago taking on Dallas, and also again Miami taking on Philly. The pace bumps, teams playing faster than their own pace here, so Brooklyn taking on Washington will bump that pace up dramatically for the Brooklyn Nets. Dallas Mavericks taking on Chicago, they get a small pace bump there. And the Lakers are one of the slower teams at the moment, and that is probably mostly due to Luka holding onto that ball and setting things up the way Luka does. They are taking on Memphis, basically the quickest team in the league. So there are your attack and stacks and pace bumps. Let's jump in. The first of these games, it's Brooklyn on a back-to-back, and it's Washington. Somebody get me a bucket. This is a very tough one to work out. First up, the first game on the card. Back-to-back, as I said, for Brooklyn. They are playing today, Friday, Saturday. On the Friday, I can tell you that Trendon Watford, Zaire Williams were both ruled in. Noah Clowney did not play, and Dayron Sharp is injured for a couple of games here. So my 3 guys here that I like for Brooklyn, taking on the Washington team in a pace bump and also in an attack and stack. Cam Johnson, just watch the back-to-back. Dude can sit on the second half of a back-to-back every now and then as Brooklyn certainly don't seem to care about winning very much. 7,100 for Cam Johnson is a great price if he does play, especially against Washington. A lot of upside there. He has only put up a couple of mid-20 DK scores against Washington this season, but I have no problem with that price for Cam Johnson, 7,100 versus the Wizards. Keon Johnson, 5,400. We just have to watch the back-to-back here for all of the Brooklyn Nets. They're throwing these lineups around. Who knows who plays on the second half? But Keon Johnson at 5,400 is a decent price. 29 and 43 DK points this season versus Washington. Obviously, we would hope for that upside 43 type of DK point game here. The minutes are there. The shooting for Keon is hit and miss. Can be the dictator for what he does any given day. I don't mind Nick Claxton here. Doesn't show up on my reports very often, but 6,200. He is coming off some decent DK scoring of 47 and 34 in the last two. Again, he's only had mid-20 DK points versus Washington in 2025, but I don't mind this price for Nick Claxton if you want to take a swing at it. On the Wizards side of the ball, Alex Sarr, 6,600. Let's go back to the injury report, shall we? At least they're not on a back-to-back here, the Wizards. For the Wizards, on the Saturday, Marcus Smart is questionable. Keyshawn George, Chris Middleton both ruled out already. So that opens up a few things for the Wizards. Alex Sarr, though, is the stable guy of this lineup, 6,600. I think the last time I picked him for you guys, he didn't quite deliver, but I love this against the Brooklyn Centers. His minutes remain high no matter what is going on in games. High 20s to low 30s minutes, and versus Brooklyn at the center position. And as I said, no problems whatsoever attacking that spot. 40 to 45 DK point upside for Alex Sarr any given night. With a couple of those names out, Bub Carrington, 5K. As I said, Middleton and George both ruled out already, so the minutes are remaining for Carrington as well at the moment, regardless of what's going on in the games. Field goal percentage is the question for this guy. If he can hit a few shots, he should breeze through 5K. Brooklyn Nets certainly don't pose much defense themselves. It is a pace down game for Washington, I guess. Keep that in mind. A couple of guys here with those names out. Also, you can take some stabs at. In fact, there's 4 of them because it's the Washington Wizards and we don't know what's going to happen any given night. Justin Champagny at 4,800. AJ Johnson at 4,300. Tristan Vukovic, that should be a you, not an I, at 4K, and Colby Jones at 3,500. Look, my heart wants to pick either Champagny or Vukovic. I believe that the other two guys are definitely more of a higher a lower floor type of pinata play. So it'd be Champagny or Vukovic for me. Vukovic, I can't get that one right yet. We'll get there, though. I've got a few games left to get some of these names right. It's funny, right? The Australian accent, I've had some comments on that, Castle, things like that. But yeah, my brain constantly wants to change some of these names around. I'm sure you've noticed it if you're a long-time listener. Christian Brown, I want to call Christian Braun. Julian Strother, I want to call Julian Strother. And I will just flip back and forth between Amen and Amen Thompson on the regular. Let's leave that behind, though. Miami Heat taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. As we know, this is two slow teams. This will be a fairly low game total here, probably the slowest of the day. For the Miami team, Alec Burks is questionable. Wiggins and Duncan Robinson and Kevin Love have all been ruled out for this game. It's up to the bigger guys here I like against this Philadelphia team. Hero at 8,300, Adebayo at 8,400. So Hero dropped 52 on Philly earlier this season. I like that price. He tends to beat up on some poorer teams as of late. Not, something I'd normally put alongside Tyler Hero's name, Flat Track Bully or anything like that. But it's just the way the cards have fallen. So while we're playing against Philadelphia, I love the price for Hero at 8,300. Bam, 8,400 has a prime spot here versus the Philadelphia Bigs. We obviously know there are multiple big name outs there for Philadelphia. So I like this spot for Bam. Based on the recent history of giving up fantasy points for the Philadelphia big guys. Keller Ware also at 5,800. Hit and miss with minutes. Spoelstra can't make up his mind what he wants to do with his secondary player list, I guess. That's fine. That's a coach's prerogative. But what happens here is we have no Wiggins, we have no Robinson. That just takes two guys out of Spolster's rotation that he can't take minutes away from Keller Ware with. So 5,800 for Ware. It's a decent price here. Again, we're playing against the Philadelphia big men. Good spot for him at 5,800. And I just want to mention Alec Burks. Questionable, yes. 3,300 is a basement price for a guy who could come in. If he does come in, there are wing spots available here without Andrew Wiggins and Duncan Robinson, worth keeping an eye on if you need to go all the way to the bottom of the list. Philadelphia taking on the Miami Heat back the other way. This is a back-to-back for Philadelphia, but at least it's the Saturday into Sunday back-to-back, so we have a fair idea of what will be going on. Keep an eye on news before lockout, obviously, as we always say here at Snack Size. Lonnie Walker's come up as probable for this game. We know that Maxi's out. Actually, he showed up as, I think there was some news that he may return next week, and the same with Kelly Oubre, which is odd, but that's fine. They're not going to be here for this game, and neither is Andre Drummond. Justin Edwards is my guy here at 5,700. Price jump in the last 5 games for sure. It's absolutely warranted. There is still meat on the bone here, even against a fairly tough Miami team. Justin Edwards at 5,700 will be my guy. I've listed Quentin Grimes here at 9,100. You can take stabs at him if you like. I believe there are better high-price guys on the board. He's had a very high price jump in the last 5 to 6 games, and that's a pass for me on Quentin Grimes. Lonnie Walker, as I mentioned, has come up as probable. No, that's fine. We're all good. Lonnie Walker, probable. My bad there. He is coming up at 4,500. He's a pinata play. If he plays mid-20s minutes and DK scoring before his little injury. He also had a DNP CD in there, so keep that in mind. It's just a stab if you need to land at 4,500 and you don't mind swinging for fences. The Dallas Mavericks taking on the Chicago Bulls. This will be the quick one of the day, and it's Dallas getting a pretty nice pace bump versus Chicago. For the Mavericks, the injury report reads with a lot of names: Anthony Davis, Caleb Martin, and Brandon Williams, all probable. Kai Jones and PJ Washington, questionable. I believe that PJ's come up questionable a few times in the last few games and hasn't played. Lively and Gafford. Not that it matters here. I don't think either of them play, but it's worth noting that both of them came up doubtful here, suggesting they're getting close to a return. Chicago Bulls. No, let's move back to the players for the Dallas Mavericks. Sorry, I'm on 0 sleep today. I've had a shocking sleep overnight, woken up at 4 a.m. Yes, my brain is a bit all over the place, but we'll get there. Anthony Davis, 9,800. I would need an absolute rule out of a minutes restriction here before I'm playing Davis at 9,800. The other thing to notice here is that as soon as Davis came back into this lineup, usage went so far through the floor for so many other Mavs players. That is why you don't see Najee Marshall and a couple of other guys here. It's Brandon Williams at 4,800 and Jaden Hardy at 3,800 in those guard spots that didn't get too burnt by that Davis usage. So Brandon Williams, 4,800, 27 and 28 minutes with 30 and 29 DK points. Just keep in mind, very high field goal percent shooting for a guard on both of those games. He's still in play at 4,800. He did have 60% field goal shooting. I'd feel much better about these two lower price guards if there's no PJ Washington, just for usage and minutes. Jaden Hardy at 3,800. It's a similar story. Not affected by Davis in terms of minutes, 20 and 23, which is around about all that Jaden Hardy's going to get without more injuries to the Mavs. He had 21 and 27 DK points in his last two. 77% and 58% shooting from the floor. That's very high for both of these guards. That's a red flag for me, but we mention them because sometimes you just need to take a stab at lower price guys. Keep an eye on the PJ news for both of these guys for usage and minutes. Chicago Bulls. The only real guy on the injury report here for the Bulls is Lonzo Ball, who is still out. Kobe White, 8,100. Generally around value here, but this is a smash spot. Philadelphia at the shooting guard position, you can absolutely target here. I love this for some upside for Kobe White, who has been balling out lately. Josh Giddey at the other guard spot, 9,200. He's finally had the price jump since I last recorded with his name in this show, up a couple of close to $1,000, I believe, and it was about time. 9,200 for Josh Giddey is still within reach of value, and we can exceed value here with Josh Giddey, who can get to 60, 65 DK points on this Bulls team. And we're only playing Dallas, so no issues there with Josh Giddey at 9,200 and Kobe White at 8,100. Couple of lower price guys you can take some stabs at. Nikola Vucevic, 7,500. He's been cut down a little bit lately in terms of usage and DK scoring, but we can definitely attack Dallas at the center spot. If you happen to land there at 7,500, it's okay. Kevin Huerta, 5,900, yo-yo scorer, really good for season-long fantasy at the moment, and just a bit of a pinata play here for us in DFS, though, at 5,900. It is another good spot for teams taking on Chicago at that small forward position. Let's get into the next game. This is going to be a quicker game for the Lakers. They're going to get a massive pace bump here versus Memphis, which we love to see. On the injury report for the Lakers, Austin Reeves questionable. Hachimura has been ruled in. It's the two big dogs here for me. Apologies. The Lakers guys, Doncic and LeBron James, 12,900. It's a good pace spot here for Luka. We can attack Memphis at almost any position. They give up fantasy points anywhere, and they play very fast. I probably prefer LeBron here at the discount, but I can't blame you for playing Luka here at 12.9. He did drop 70 DK points on them earlier in the season when he was a Maverick. LeBron James, 10K. I really like this. 45, 59, and 76 DK points versus Memphis this season. That's enough for me to certainly be taking looks at LeBron James here. I do have another guy coming up that we absolutely need to drill down on, who may probably swallow up more of my lineups than LeBron James, but there's potentially the option to play them both. Austin Reeves, questionable here. 8,700. Look, he's only had 30 to 35 DK points in 3 games versus Memphis this season. That doesn't bode well for scoring here. He could burn me, but I will just wait until I feel like there's a better matchup, potentially a drop in price for Austin Reeves. Jackson Hayes is just a perpetual pinata play. Due to his minutes, it's all over the place in minutes for Hayes, 32 minutes and 35 DK points versus Chicago in the last one. Just keep in mind that's versus Chicago in that smash center spot. Memphis, Morant and Marvin Bagley are questionable here, taking on the Lakers. Pace down game for the Memphis Grizzlies. It usually is for these guys anyway. Ja Morant has come up as questionable, as mentioned. 9,300. We can absolutely go hard at the Lakers at the point guard spot. That would be also because Luka is in that team now. Nothing against Luka, but when Luka is playing for your team, the point guard position is where the fantasy points end up going. He would absolutely need no minutes restriction here, Ja Morant, coming off injury, before I am even considering him at 9,300. If we get that news, he is in play. Jaren Jackson Jr., 8K. Excellent price for Triple J. He's had some pretty poor shooting nights in the last 2 to 4 games, I want to say off the top of my head. I like this for a bounce back. He's been pretty good against the Lakers this season. Scottie Pippen Jr., 6,200. This is a simple injury replacement if Ja Morant still can't suit up. He's had a price bump, but as I mentioned before, the Lakers point guard spot is going to be the place to attack them right now. So Scottie Pippen Jr. at 6,200 is in play at that mid price. Please close your eyes, fold your hands together and bow your head as we have a snack-sized DFS. Pause for a moment of silence. And the moment of silence is for whoever listed at DraftKings, Jayson Tatum at 10.2. 10,200. That's an $800 price drop for zero apparent reason. If you happen to see a guy or girl out in the local park, sitting on the park bench, eating their lunch soulfully and quietly by themselves in a DraftKings polo top, please go and take a seat next to them on the park bench. Put your arm around them. Tell them you feel their pain, because whoever dropped that $800 off of Tatum's price here is probably in a world of hurt in that DraftKings office. So that makes Jayson Tatum my favorite play of the day here, and I'll prefer him over LeBron James and a couple of the other high-price guys, because that price versus San Antonio is just too cheap. Let's go back to the injury report. Tatum is in. Peyton Pritchard and Xavier Tillman both questionable here. outside of Tatum, who will be my thumbnail for this episode, Kristaps Porzingis, 8,300. Plenty of meat on the bone here still for Kristaps against a porous, let's call it porous, San Antonio Spurs. Plenty of meat on the bone here. He had 53 53 DK points twice versus similarly porous teams in Utah and Brooklyn. So I don't mind the price here if you want to take stabs at Kristaps. Sam Hauser has been a little bit more of a mid-range guy. He doesn't have the upside of some of the other guys who we've talked about, but 4,200 is an okay price if you happen to land here for Sam Hauser. The San Antonio Spurs, another back-to-back here. They are on the Saturday-Sunday back-to-back. The only guy on the injury report for the Spurs at the moment is Charles Bassey. Stephon Castle, 6,600. All three guys listed here for the Spurs are a pinata play. It's hard to work out who's going to go off in any given game. The minutes, outside of those Washington, Philadelphia lineups, the minutes for the Spurs are a little bit more stable, but it does come down to field goal percentages and usage and things like that on a team who's now just basically given up. Stephon Castle, 6,600. Julian Champagny, 3,400, right down the bottom. And Keldon Johnson, 4,700. Just reckon these might have been my three guys last time. All three are pinata plays. Minutes are secure for all of them, but there are obviously different levels of pricing there based on how many minutes they will get. In order of preference for me, it is in that order: Castle, then Champagny at the basement price, and then Keldon Johnson. I believe this is the last game. It's the Pacers taking on the Thunder. Should be a great game. I'll be looking forward to watching this one. Not sure there's a great deal going on here for DFS, though, but let's take a look at some of the guys. It will be a slow game here. The only guy on the injury report for Indiana is Benedict Mathurin, who is out at the moment. I'm going to pass on Halliburton here at his price versus a very tough OKC lineup. And I will head down the ladder one rung to Pascal Siakam at 8K. It's an okay price. He put up 42 DK points versus OKC earlier in the season. He's probably not going to burn you guys. Power forward is the one spot that we can target at the moment versus Thunder. It's a bit of a meh play, but sometimes we just need to land in that area with the guy who's going to get us value without blowing the roof off for us. Miles Turner, 6,600. 39 DK points versus OKC earlier. It's a mid-pricer. Again, if you just happen to land here, I said I wasn't that interested in this game, and you can hear it as I roll through. I probably prefer Alex Sarr at a similar price here, but Miles Turner, contrarian / GPP play maybe. Aaron Naismith, low-end spot filler here. Another guy that we can just hope to hold his value, maybe give us a little bit of upside at 4,700 with Benedict Mathurin out and some minutes hopefully staying steady for Naismith. Onto the Thunder. Last team of the day, Isaiah Hartenstein in. Jalen Williams and Alex Caruso questionable. We also, I guess, should watch Jalen Williams, who came back off a fairly long absence, but this is not a back-to-back, so hopefully the dude is ready to go, as I have 2 out of my 3 championship fantasy season playoffs relying on that guy heavily. I'd love to see him play. Aaron Wiggins is listed out at the end of the roster there. Shai Gilgeous, oh man, that was the effects of the lack of sleep, and also playing 3 championship games this week. My brain is a bit fried. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, there we go, folks. 10,900. This price just keeps dropping a little bit for SGA. It's okay. He actually hasn't played in an Indiana game this season. I think there's only been one, and he wasn't there. I'm just going to prefer Jayson Tatum here, but I thought it was worth mentioning the potential MVP. Isaiah Hartenstein, 6,800. He's probably my guy here for OKC over everybody. The minutes are a little bit all over the place. He's probably one of those guys that isn't going to burn you too bad versus Indiana, and can get you up to 45, 48 DK points every second game, basically. Alex Caruso, questionable as listed up the top there. I really like this if he does play. 4,100. Great price if he plays, and we hear there's no minutes restriction. 31 and 23 minutes with 33 and 34 DK points scoring before his injury. Hopefully he comes back here, because I'd like to play him at 4,100. And the other 2 guys you can take pinata stabs at are Isaiah Joe, 3,600 for a little bit of upside, and Cason Wallace at 4K, who probably has the solider floor, lower upside out of those 2 guys. My favorite plays of the day, that felt like it took a little while. Maybe it's just a lot to talk about this time. That's okay, though. We are here now. It's the 3 Miami guys versus Philly, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, and Keller, where I like Davis versus Chicago. As long as we hear there are no minutes restrictions. As soon as we hear 26 to 28, I am off of Davis there. Josh Giddey, Kobe White versus Dallas in great spots. LeBron versus Memphis in that pace-up game and a nice price of $10K. Back the other way, Ja Morant, again, we need no minutes restriction, but I will play him if we hear that versus the Lakers point guard position. And it'll be Scottie Pippen Jr. if Ja is out. Tatum's my guy here. He's my favorite player of the day versus San Antonio at a ridiculous discount. Thank you, former DraftKings employee Stephon Castle at Boston, playing Boston. Don't mind that price, even against a tough matchup. I think it was 6,600. Pascal Siakam is a bit of a mid-price 8K slot filler versus OKC. I think you can probably find better, but he still won't burn you. And SGA taking on Indiana can never be counted out. That's Snack Size DFS for me today, Saturday, March the 29th. You can find me on social media at Terrain72, mostly Twitter these days. Please give us a like and subscribe to the Old Man Squad Network.
I forgot to tell you guys to subscribe, but please subscribe if you like what you're getting here at Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball. We've got DFS shows that will likely last throughout the postseason. My show runs all off-season long, and we have multiple new hosts coming your way. Haven't announced it yet. Can't tell you just yet, but I will soon. So hit that subscribe button. Make sure to like the video. Comments are open if you want to hit up Brenton before lineups lock a little bit later on. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Dan for Old Man Squad. For Brenton on the Twitters, he's at Terrain72. Go hunt him down there, and I'll talk to you guys soon. So long for now.